1,000 years ago, there lived a powerful king in South India. He had recently conquered much of the southern peninsula, and he decided to build a grand new capital city for his empire. He wanted to anoint the city with water from the river Ganga, a river that is sacred to all Indians, and a river that was 2,000 kilometers away. So a huge army left from Tanjavur in Tamil Nadu on a long expedition to bring back Ganga water. It had to cross many kingdoms on its way. Today's Odisha, Madhya Pradesh and Bihar. Would these kingdoms allow an alien army to walk through their lands? Of course not. So our king's army simply conquered every kingdom en route all the way to Bengal and even into modern-day Bangladesh. And they triumphantly returned with the holy Ganga water. It was one of the most successful military expeditions in Indian history. All the defeated kings along the route became his subordinates and trade partners. And the resultant riches made this empire an economic superpower.
So who are we talking about? Our story is about a king who ruled the Chola kingdom between 1012 and 1044 CE, Rajendra Chola. He initially ruled from Tanjavur in modern-day Tamil Nadu and later from his new capital city called Gangaikonda Cholapuram. That literally means the town of the Chola who took over the Gangetic Plains. But let's backtrack here a bit. Who exactly were the Cholas? They were a South Indian dynasty that ruled over a large territory for nearly 1500 years, going back to the 2nd century BCE. At their peak in the 11th century, they ruled over South India, Maldives and Sri Lanka. They also collected tributes from kingdoms in eastern India, Burma, Malaysia, Singapore, Indonesia and Cambodia. That's nearly 1 million square kilometers. Incredible, right? Astonishingly, all of this happened in a span of just 2 generations. The father, Rajaraja Chola, and his son, Rajendra Chola.
In 985 CE, when the father, Rajaraja, became king, the Chola kingdom was much smaller, and the Tamil country was split into 3 warring kingdoms. The Cheras of present-day Kerala, the Pandyas who ruled from Madurai, and the Cholas who ruled from Tanjavur. Rajaraja swiftly united all 3 kingdoms under the Chola banner, and even annexed the northern half of Sri Lanka. In 1010 CE, he built the gigantic Brihadishvara temple, the tallest man-made structure of the time. Befittingly, he is called Rajaraja, the king of kings. The son, Rajendra, was perhaps even greater, and he built on the foundations laid by his father. In fact, many of Rajaraja's conquests were actually won by Rajendra, who commanded his father's armies. As soon as Rajendra became king, he mopped up all the unfinished business from his father's time. He successfully captured the remaining parts of Sri Lanka and made that little island a Chola colony. He crushed revolts from the Cheras and Pandyas, and he defeated the Chalukyas to bring substantial parts of modern-day Karnataka and Andhra under his control.
And then Rajendra embarked on his most ambitious expedition yet, an overseas naval campaign. At that time, much of modern-day Malaysia and Indonesia were ruled by the Sri Vijaya kings. The Cholas had flourishing trade relations with them. Their ships passed through the Malacca Strait, which the Sri Vijayans controlled, onwards to China and back. During Rajendra's rule, that relationship soured. The Sri Vijayans increased customs duties on Chola ships, deeply affecting their trade.
Rajendra Chola decided to set things right, and he had the right resources. You see, the Cholas were the only dynasty to conceive of a blue water navy in the history of India. Until then, even the most powerful dynasties, the Mauryas, the Mughals, the Marathas, all except the Pallavas, had only coastal navies and nothing more.
Rajendra Chola's navy was estimated to have over 1 million sailors with hundreds of vessels spread over several naval bases in coastal Tamil Nadu and northern Sri Lanka. So in 1025, a huge naval fleet left for Sri Vijaya. In surprise attacks, the Cholas sacked and looted several Sri Vijayan ports. The Sri Vijayan king himself was captured and the Cholas returned with enormous riches. They did not occupy the defeated territories, they simply extracted hefty tributes from them. And this expedition allowed Tamil traders to firmly establish themselves across Southeast Asia.
With all that military success behind him, Rajendra decided to build himself a brand new capital city. He chose a location on the banks of the Kollidam river, and a new city, Gangaikonda Cholapuram, was born. Works of ancient Tamil literature describe the city in glowing terms. The majestic Gangaikonda Cholapuram temple could be seen from anywhere in the city. Nearby, Rajendra had a beautiful palace. It remained the Chola capital for the next 250 years until the fall of the Chola Empire in 1279. Today, that grand city is but a small town, and the Chola palace just a mound of bricks. But the Gangaikonda Cholapuram temple still stands tall as a charming celebration of the greatest Chola king, Rajendra Chola.
There is one other monument that still remains. Rajendra wanted to awe his people with his conquests. Bringing the Ganga water to his new city added to that sense of drama, probably even suggesting that he had the divine Ganga's blessing. And so he built a huge reservoir in his new capital city, poured the Ganga water into it, and called it Chola Gangam. Today, that lake is known as Punneri, and it still remains one of the largest man-made lakes in India 1,000 years after it was built. Back in those days, a victorious king would mark his wins by raising a victory tower called a Jaya Stambham. Inscriptions from the time refer to this lake as a Jala Stambham, meaning a water monument celebrating Rajendra Chola's victories over the Gangetic Plains. Quite apt, don't you think, for a southern king who brought the mighty Ganga to his backyard?